is my parents. I'm working, they put the mind, the soul, the energy, the strength, and to make me the person I am today. I'm constantly grateful. That's just wanting to eat crossing. See, this is my mom's with a fashion career, and this is mine. You spread that, right? It's just like all the so still because, well,
I don't want to be wearing that to school. Iron pants, button shirt, suit, jacket, tie, like I'm wearing now. She's always had an emphasis on having the look that's elegant and polished. And while I respect that, I don't really like being that kind of person. Instead, I want to pull up to school like this, with PJs, with jeans, a shirt, maybe a jacket or two. This would cause so many arguments if it weren't for this right here. Now, this is my school's dress code. It's a polo. And I imagine that in many places throughout the world, there's going to be students wearing uniforms just like this. And it's so nice because, well, I don't have to think about what I'm wearing for school. And I don't have to think about when my next argument with my mom is, so that's a win for me. And it's really a benefit for me, but what happens if I were to do something interesting? Do you feel uncomfortable? I'm a troublemaker for my household, and this isn't really an exception to that. So the first thing you might have thought was, well, why would you do that? You're gonna get yelled at home, right? And I'm like, sorry, Mom. The second thing you might have thought of was, well, what are you gonna wear to school tomorrow? I have 5 Polos at home, so it's not really a concern for me, but there is a more pressing concern that's more important for me and who's considered. See, the first thing I thought of was, well, what exactly did I just fix? In fact, what went into the process of making that polo look that made all of you feel so uncomfortable in the first place? So I did some research, and what I found was the following. Quote, cotton shirts. Cotton is known for its water-intensive process. It can take up to as much as 725 gallons of water to produce just one shirt. Polyester sheets, while materials aren't as water-intensive as cotton, they can still take up to as much as 92 gallons just to dry and wash. I'm sorry, what? I mean, this is absurd. I'm drinking like 2 cups of water a day, and you expect me to believe this is the amount of water that we're using for our clothing? Really? See, for reference, a standard bathtub can hold up to 16 gallons of water. Now, let's do some math. 720 gallons of water, bare minimum for sure, divided into 60 gallons of water gives you 12 bathtubs. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 bathtubs. 12 bathtubs. And that's kind of a crazy amount of water to use. Can you imagine how much water we need to spend for just one fossil fuel? How much would we have to spend for the city of Cyprus alone? How much would we have to spend for just the nation of the United States? How much globally? And you don't even have to apply this to just water and clothing either. You can apply this to resource usage like electricity and other things that we use like laptops, phones, the clocks we watch the time with, the forks we used to eat, the backpacks we carry to school, the pens we work with, the chairs we sit on, the very stage I'm standing on right now. See, it reminds me of a time in my AP environmental science class where we took a mini survey to see how many Earths we would need to sustain ourselves if everyone on Earth lived the same way we did. Nobody had a score lower than 2 Earths. 2 Earths. And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of crazy. Have we got to such a point where we need more than 2 Earths? And then I checked my own score and I get 4.9 Earths, which is incredibly awkward. But that's just the way it is. The point is, we're taking for granted everything in our lives. Everything. Everything we touch, everything we see, smell, feel, everything. We're quite literally living ourselves to death in our societal norms. So, is there anything that's actually being done to help? Well, yeah, the real question is it effective? Let's see. This is the population of Americans that believe that global warming is a problem. 71%. Reasonable. But how many Americans do you think have actually contributed in terms of climate activism? 21%. For reference, our European neighbors have a whopping 59%, over half of their population is actually doing something to stop the crisis. 95% of Americans believe that protecting our nation's water sources is important, which is reasonable given that we survive based on water. But the amount of water that is leaked from our households every week, on average, 180 gallons. This is how many gallons of water that is on screen. 180 gallons. Now, you can read the article by yourself on the Yale program on climate communication, but essentially, I want you to pay attention to the words on screen. The Inflation Reduction Act. You see, the amount of pro-climate voters that are actually voting on the environment, that have heard about frequently about this, is 47%. Less than half. If you were paying attention, you might notice a trend. Americans simply aren't engaged in terms of the environment. Yes, they say they want to protect the environment. Yes, they say we need change. And yet, what's actually being done? Not much. And the ones that even do take the time to actually vote on these issues don't even know about the policies that are actually being influenced by our government, like the IRA I just showed you, which is, billions of dollars in taxes affected toward renewable energy sources. It's a really weird thing because, well, it's our lifestyles that are the problems. It's our normal, mundane lifestyles that we go through every day that contribute to this. The ones that we don't pay much attention to. The ones that are too much of a hassle. The ones that are burdensome. The ones that are inconvenient. The ones that are uncomfortable. See, it really goes back to that one question, doesn't it? Do you feel uncomfortable? And what are you going to do about it? There's a quote by Richard Sullivan, the founder of the TEDxKennedy, that said this about very much change. Next. What's next often hides at the margins of what's normal. I think this gives us a clue as to what we have to be doing next as a society. Take a look at the comfortable, sheltered lives that we live. The mundane ones, the ones that shape every single one of us in this room. It's a really weird thing how events in our lives, just normal mundane activities, have such profound effects on our communities. And hate to say this, but I'm a part of it too. And there's something that every one of us can change. That's normal. See, it's normal to leave a hot shower running for 20 minutes. But every minute is 2.5 gallons saved. It's normal to leave the AC running on, right? For like cooling up a room. But every hour you put a fan instead is an 83% decrease in electricity used. It's normal to leave a car idling for, 5 minutes, but every hour saved is 11 less pounds of carbon dioxide going into the atmosphere. These aren't hard things to do. They're just not normal. They're inconvenient. The purpose of they're uncomfortable. And so, I know that every one of you in this room is capable of giving up just one thing. Unless we intend to regress to a detrimental lifestyle that we consider normal as a society, I know that something as mundane as closing a refrigerator or multitasking is important because it's significant for all of us, for the natural world that we call home. So back to my own home. The same one that I cause trouble and commotion. The same one where so many arguments have been saved by that polo I just put through. Yet, I'm a troublemaker. I can stir up more arguments in the house. Arguments about throwing less food out into the trash. Arguments about considering converting to solar power. Arguments about buying locally and saving on transportation costs. Arguments about going to city councils and town halls to discuss the changing environment. Arguments about actively being informed in our democracy, about actually voting on matters that concern the environment. Arguments about changing my comfortable lifestyle. And arguments are pretty uncomfortable from personal experience. It's for the purpose of one day living in a world that's better, a more comfortable world. Yeah, I cause a lot of problems and I'm a troublemaker, as I've established multiple times, but as my history teacher once put it, sometimes you just gotta get yourself into some good trouble. Thank you.